Welcome to Conversations. Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that the neoconservatives, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham said on television. Apparently, he spent 4.5 hours with the President of the United States. He is completely devastated by the Memorandum of Understanding. Nearly all neocons understand that this attempt to destroy Iran, to make it like a broken state, killing thousands of people, destroying its entire infrastructure, making it like Libya or Syria, that was Israel's goal, to destroy it just as Iraq was destroyed in 2002. So he comes on television and he comes up and says we have a backup plan, a plan B if the negotiations don't work. And let me show you what Donald Trump said first. So Donald Trump says there will be no tolls in the Hormuz Strait for 60 days during the ceasefire period. Yes, that's what the Memorandum of Understanding says. And there will be no tolls after the 60-day period has expired. That is not in the Memorandum of Understanding. It has to be negotiated. And Ghalibaf, the speaker and the chief negotiator, on his way back from Switzerland just a few hours ago, said very clearly that we are not, while we will respect international law, we are not going back to how things were with the Strait of Hormuz before this war. That's where the Iranians are. And then he says, unless they are, this is what Trump says, unless the tolls are imposed by and for the United States of America. So until now, Marco Rubio kept saying it's against international law to impose tolls. But now Donald Trump is threatening to impose tolls, so it's okay, I guess. Should the deal not be completed for services rendered as the guardian angel to the countries of the Middle East for purposes of both past, present, and future reimbursement of costs? So the U.S. is now going to charge 20% toll. That will be from not just from Iran, but from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and all the other countries that trade through the Strait of Hormuz. So there are two-way trade. Remember that. India sends a lot of ships with vegetables and other stuff. India has a $200 billion trade, of which nearly $100 billion of it goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and Trump is now going to charge a tariff. In a phone call to Fox News, he said 20% to the countries of Middle East for purpose of both past, present. So thank you for your attention. So this is what he was trying to say. I also have a small announcement to make. I'll be coming back here at midnight to do a show in Hindi and English, which will talk about the basic agreements that have come about. The discussions were quite fruitful between Iran and the United States, in spite of all the public rhetoric. So J.D. Vance left Switzerland and is coming back, and before he left, he had this major press conference in which he made this announcement that, among other things, 4 major developments took place. One was basically that a mechanism has been agreed upon on how the Strait of Hormuz will be managed between the U.S. and Iran. The second and how to keep it open without misunderstandings and misinterpretation leading to conflict. The second thing is that they're going to have some kind of a de-escalation mechanism with respect to Lebanon, so that Hezbollah and Israel do not keep breaking into essentially conflicts and violate the ceasefire. The third one is that Iran has agreed to let in IAEA inspectors into Iran right away, which is a big win for Donald Trump. So he can say that, look, today I was listening to a lot of analysts who were saying that all of Iran's interests were upfront, such as unfreezing of assets, whereas America's interests, such as the nuclear program, are towards the end of it. So getting it right up front, right away, today itself, that IAEA inspectors will be allowed is a big win for Donald Trump. So he can tell, look, our interests are front-loaded. And the fourth one is that there will be some mechanism established so that Iran's unfrozen assets will go through Qatar. But what's interesting is that at least the Americans are saying that Iran will not have the freedom to use its own money. It's unbelievable how America loves to dictate how others live, right, in order to make sure that Israel's interests are served. So Iran cannot take its own money and do whatever it like. It can only use it for humanitarian purposes, and it must use that money to buy American agricultural products such as soya beans, etc. We'll see what happens with that. Iran may decide, let's put it in a bank and not buy anything. So all the tough responses that the U.S. has been getting from the rest of the world, when no one wants to buy American agricultural products, they are trying to dump it on Iran. We will see. But what Donald Trump is going to say is whether Iran does it or not, he's going to use this as a bragging point, saying, look, I had a massive win with Iran. Now they are buying trillions of dollars of our agricultural product. And then if someone says, but Iran's economy is not $1 trillion, then he'll say, oh, there you're stupid. Iran is going to buy not 1, 2, but 3, 4, 5 trillion dollars worth of soybeans. Anyway, so that's why it's just to give Donald Trump an opportunity to say something. So I will be talking in great detail about it. I will play clips from J.D. Vance's, but I will be doing that in Hindi and English. So now coming back to the neocons, let me tell you, neocons are basically Israel first people who believe that America's power, America's wealth, America's money, taxpayer money, and including the lives of Americans are best used in the service of Israel. That is who a neocon is. And here's a sample of that.
President Trump is going.
So this is Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. Please do not vote for this monkey.
What I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, will obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. We're going to run it. We're going to try to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords to end the Arab-Israeli conflict in 2026. And if Iran continues to attack it.
So this is what this idiot is saying. Please excuse me if you are a big fan of his book, because I will tell you why he's an idiot. So this is what he's saying. If this deal fails, then the U.S. is going to take the Strait of Hormuz.
What I think will happen next.
The reason why we have this deal is because the U.S. has failed to take the Strait of Hormuz. Why didn't it do it last month? Why didn't it do it last week? Because it cannot. It cannot take the Strait of Hormuz by force, otherwise they would have taken it. This is what the U.S. military has repeatedly told all past American presidents, that it's not going to happen. Yet, he says, oh, we will take it by force. How? And we will obliterate Iran? Like, what is the meaning of the word obliterate? I don't understand. I mean, are they speaking in English? This is the word they use for the nuclear program, remember? We have obliterated Iran's nuclear program. This was just in summer of 2025. And then, few months later, they went to war to eliminate Iran's nuclear weapons program, which was on the verge of dropping bombs all over the world. Remember how it was a threat to Israel, threat to America, threat to the rest of the world, as if Iran were just about to lob bomb at every country on earth. How did that happen after the nuclear program was obliterated? So the word obliterate means absolutely nothing. Okay? But listen something else. He says lots of rubbish, absolutely stupid. See, these guys, some of them are very well educated. Like Ted Cruz went to Harvard Law and all of this. The reason why they say these stupid things is because I'm telling you this, and if you're a Republican, listen, because they know you are stupid. They know you are ignorant. They know this is the same thing that all right-wing populist people say. That's why they are against colleges. That's why they are against universities. That's why they cut down money on research. That's why they tell people don't go to universities, because you will be taught how to think. They want you to be stupid, dumb, unthinking, unrational person. I'll show you in this short clip. He says such dumb things.
If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force.
So this is the question, right? Why didn't you do it so far? You just waged a war. Okay, he doesn't expect you to think of that.
The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz.
So Marco Rubio kept saying it's illegal, it's against international law, what Iran is doing by holding. So is the US going to violate international law? No, Republicans don't think about it. Law doesn't matter to them. They just love to talk about law and order, but they don't actually respect law.
We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation, and we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026.
So we are going to expand the Abraham Accords in 2026. So why is Saudi Arabia going to sign the Abraham Accords now when it did not do so all the while? That is the first question. So that is the question that we need to ask. That why will Israel die? How will it do? Why will it do it? Because you are charging 20% tariffs by blocking the Strait of Hormuz? That's going to intimidate Mohammed bin Salman to go and suck up to Israel? Look, Morocco signed it. Why did Morocco do that? Because they basically violated international law and annexed Western Sahara. And the US said, okay, you can keep it. And so they said, okay, what do you want us to do instead? Join the Abraham Accords. All right, we'll sign Abraham. And then they walked away. They have not done anything. They're not standing with Israel in this war. Jordan has done more to protect Israel than Morocco. In fact, the Saudis have done more to protect Israel and advance Israel's military goals in this war by allowing the use of its bases than Morocco did, which is part of the Abraham Accords. Kazakhstan did nothing, which is part of the Abraham. They're using all of this to basically fool Donald Trump into giving them some gift or allowing them to do something. And remember, Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. Even if Mohammed bin Salman signs an accord, it doesn't mean that the Muslim world is going to accept it. Not all countries are like UAE, where the whole population of the country is less, the citizens are less than 10% of the population. And they are so scared of their rulers. If Mohammed bin Zayed is so proud of his leadership, why not just have an election and find out where you stand?
We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran...
5,000 years in the Middle East. Like, what the fuck is that? 5,000 years what? There was an Arab-Israeli conflict for 5,000 years? Jesus Christ was not even born. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, if he sees this as a Jewish-Muslim conflict, Islam is less than 1,500 years. But 5,000 years. Because he knows that his supporters, his voters, his audience is ignorant, dumb shit who does not know how to Google. Republicans don't know how to Google. I'm so sick and tired of these dumbass fools who are in Senate, who make decisions on how our taxpayer money is spent, who go to war, kill people, who destroy the livelihood of thousands of people. Even here in America, while people are suffering. Remember when Mamdani was running for election, they called him all kinds of things, from jihadi to terrorist to communist, and yet he won. And the only reason he won was because New York was suffering from an affordability crisis. New Yorkers could not afford to live in New York, and only he was talking about that. Everyone else was talking about Israel. All the other people who were running for mayor of New York were talking about Israel. And Mamdani was the only one who was talking about New York, and so he got the votes he wanted. And he won. So I don't understand why he thinks that the Americans are going to appreciate this whole, let's go and conquer this, let's destroy a country, let's obliterate a nation of 92 million people. You know, if someone else made a threat like that, they would be considered a terrorist for threatening to kill civilians. But this man, he's a US senator on US television. Nothing is going to happen to him. Anyway, so this is what, but just let's finish off with him.
Contest control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States will obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails, President Trump is going to take the...
And this is what Donald Trump also did. We will see what is going to happen with this. Everybody all over the world are convinced that Iran has losses. I was listening to Susan Rice now. She was a former national security advisor to Barack Obama. In fact, for a brief moment, she was my neighbor. I had an office next to her. She was a superstar even at that time when I was at Brookings in 2003, 4, 5. So even Susan Rice feels that Iran has come out strategically stronger, with a higher standing in the international arena. Before Iran went into this, before the US attacked Iran, Iran was weak. It had been damaged severely by Israel and the United States in the summer of 2025. And now it appears to be standing there, but it has control over the global economy through the Strait of Hormuz. So one big advantage that has happened is that taken Strait of Hormuz, it has survived whatever the US and Israel threw at it, and the regime has not collapsed, and there have been no protests in the street. On the other hand, many Iranians have stood behind their government. So in that sense, you could say that Iran, at least during the war, is more unified, more resilient than the Americans and the Israelis has predicted. Americans, presidents who these days, especially American leaders who take money from various lobbies, even when they understand, they have clearly understood that they were lied to by Netanyahu and the Israeli intelligence. They didn't believe their own intelligence agencies. Donald Trump should be prosecuted for treason, for listening to a foreign country and going to war, than listening to your own intelligence agency. But this is Israel. It can get away with genocide. Anyway, thank you for watching Khanversations. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share it with your socio-political network. If you're from India or if you understand Urdu or Hindi, please come back at midnight. I plan to talk extensively about what was actually discussed in Switzerland. There were 4 major breakthroughs. I have made a very interesting shall we say, infographic using AI. I will share that with you. So until next time, I'm your host, Muqtadar Khan. Take care. Bye.